Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Everyday Excellence. I'm your host, Todd Baldwin, and today we have Bryan Cary, the owner of A Quality HVAC and Plumbing. Brian, how are you doing today?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's Friday, so that's my favorite day of the week. So it's good, and it's nice. It's gonna be 80 degrees today here in Texas, so things are
Yeah.
looking good. Brian, I really appreciate you hopping on and being a part of our show today. Tell us a little bit about Quality HVAC and Plumbing, because I'm sure you do a much better job introducing your company than I ever could.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We are 31 years in business as of April. I think it's April 1st. We'll be in business 31 years. It was a small family company. My dad had started out of pretty much trade school almost. And I got into the business about going on 20 years in May. And, a lot of typical family owned, ran and run small businesses, and we've made some pivots and over the years. And then my dad got sick, unfortunately, and wasn't part of the company for quite a few years, and then bought him out fully maybe 7 years ago, 8 years ago, and we made some adjustments and added plumbing 2 years ago. And uh, I think it's a pretty typical business grind that most in the industry this long have gone through some of the same similar stories and backgrounds. And um, yeah, I mean, that's it pretty much. Every day's looking to what we can do better and grow every year. A little bit is the goal, or a lot of it, I guess. Depends.
Yeah, 31 years, man. That is awesome. We talked about that when we chatted before the podcast. So congrats on that. Um, Also taking over for your dad, to buy him out, continue that legacy. I think that is so cool. We had chatted, that's how I got into my journey in entrepreneurship was through my father as well. So we definitely relate to that. Being in this business for 30 years, right? Can you share what's kept A Quality HVAC thriving? It's such a competitive industry.
Yeah, so we were mainly commercial up until when he had gotten sick. So like I'm not from the trades. I didn't go to trade school. I came in to do some of his sales stuff. And but even on the commercial side, when we were doing it, we've always been an extremely like customer focused, customer forward facing company. Like that's what we focused on. And really how we felt the best way to um, have that kind of be like in our DNA is as the owner and as the person running the company at the time, and owner, it was like employee facing for us. So, I mean, even when we had two employees for the longest time, I mean, we were really right around that 2, 3 employee mark for the first 10, 12 years of the company. Um, we ran it like we were a 100-person company, and we treated our employees like everybody was most important. Like it's family first. This is a crazy stat, but I can tell you I've never declined a time off day, PTO, people request, especially when they're last minute and family's got this going on. It wasn't where that we figured it out. We've done it. We've done it all the way up to, the air conditioning and plumbing side. We've got 45 people or something now. It makes it a little bit more difficult sometimes with some of these last minute requests, and people know how I operate, but nonetheless, that's what we've done. Our people feel that. And so when we ask for the same with the customer experience side, that's a lot easier to get, and rather than demand, it's just kind of a natural response. So from that, we grew the residential side for quite a while with hardly any marketing, just referrals and word of mouth because of kind of the process that we run and the experience we try to get. As we switched to residential, kind of kept the same thing, or kept the entire same thing, and that's really what we focus on: our employees, and then our employees' interactions with customers, and what that process looks like. And I think it's just um, yeah, I think it's probably one of the main things is employee focus, which has led to customer focus, has been probably one of the driving factors for keeping us around.
Yeah, I love something resonated with me. No, you've never declined a PTO. I'm the same way. 20 plus years in business, and I'm big on family and giving I tell our team, hey, go make sure you use your vacation time. And if they go over, I just don't ever decline it. And it's, yes, we have a net set policy of number of days based on years and all that. But the reality is, look, if you ask for time off, I'm going to give you time off because I just think it's crucial. So definitely get that. I think that's a huge, huge team builder. Tell me a little bit. Let's continue on this kind of team culture topic. Tell me how the culture has evolved over the years and what you've done to really take culture to another level since you took over the company.
Yeah, and to be honest, it was just so my dad was a tech by trade, right? But he had the vision of what this was going to look like or what he wanted. He struggled to get it past the couple employee mark, not because maybe the culture side, just the risk. We were a good balance. He's very heavy on it, very low on risk, and I'm a burn the ships kind of guy on everything. Like sounds good, and so, but he had the vision of the family stuff and what it meant and why that part was more important. And then as we grew, I mean, we just, it's embedded in our culture, the DNA of the company. Every employee knows that. And so again, we do the same. I just, like I said, do the same thing. We all, now that we got managers or stuff in place, I, in my hiring process, it's one of my biggest things. It's like, the core group we had of five, six. I mean, I've got guys that we hired at a trade school that were 18 that have been here 12 years now. And they've
That
brought
is so
family
cool.
in. Yeah. And one of them's got a family member that they brought in who is, he wasn't 18, he was 40 when he came here, but his youngest brother is got a career in a place that he loves every day. He's like, I've been in the same two companies over the last, my entire life. And my brother's doing better and he loves it every day. So he came, he's been here 8 years now, going on 9. Um, but we don't just say, hey, a lot of places will preach culture and hey, we want this to be a good place to work. I genuinely require every manager to operate the same way I did when it was just 3 of us.
Okay.
It's more and more difficult to do, but it's a requirement. So if they have something they think is against where I would go and why they want to do it, they just come in and we talk about it. And, I don't micromanage or, make any major adjustments, but we'll have to have a discussion on it and make sure we did the right thing in the leadership side before it trickles down. And so, yeah, it's everybody's talks how tough it is to get good hires right now, and that's always been a thing in the trades is getting people. And as the industry's changed, we get more and more people coming into it. But we went from really tough to find people. We get unsolicited resumes year round almost. And it's usually someone like, hey, I would like to come work there. I've been at this place for 4 years. This and that's changing. We don't love it. I've ran into a couple of your guys in the shops. I've heard about this. I'd be really interested in just at least interviewing and showing me what we can do, which is, take it as a compliment. You know what I mean? I'm not out posting jobs or something. People want to come work. So it's been nice.
Finding people is so hard. So if you've got people coming to you based off your culture, that's a huge value because every time I run an ad or something, I just get frustrated. I don't
Yeah.
even think I've been on Indeed in years because I don't get good I don't get good candidates. So real
Yeah.
quick to kind of tie up the culture part, what is something that you're looking for, right? When these guys are coming to you asking for jobs, what are a couple of things that you are looking for? And if they don't have, it's a deal breaker. Like I'm not hiring them, right? What is it that you're looking for that hey, they're going to fit into our culture?
Yeah, so this is something I say, and I don't do all the interviews anymore, but the managers that I have hired, I tell them this, and then this is kind of their policy. It's like, I mean, obviously there's quite a few things we're looking for, right? Like, you might need some technical stuff, but at the end of the day, my core policy is like all we want. One of my taglines my dad had was like, we always just want this to be the best place for the best people to work. And then like, how do we make this the best place to work? So before we could even afford it, we offered all the benefits, 2 weeks paid time off. I give your birthday off. If your birthday's in the dead of summer, we ask you to bank it and maybe use it in December, but it's a paid day. So we do all
Sure.
these things. And so I just say, um, I just want good people and, and we want people who want to be here. So my kind of theme to that is like I can make a great person a great technician, but I can't make a great technician a great person. And so if you have the attitude and you want to be here and you want to learn and you fit all those roles, we do the training in house. We can make you that great technician. We can make you the great installer. We'll invest the time and money if you're a great person. I've got guys coming in here saying, I sell 4.5 million a year out of my own truck. I do this and that. It just can, through a few things we do, tell like you're not going to be a good fit. And
Sure.
we won't disrupt the culture. We won't disrupt our morals, ethics, integrity, everything we built just to get a couple $1 million in the door. Like we've got guys who've zero experience who um, fit all the marks you need, whether it's sales, installs, whatnot, just by following the processes and doing the training. But they're great people and they fit the culture and it goes well. So.
Yeah, I like that because if you hire based off a possible increase in sales, right? But they don't fit the culture, you actually may go backwards just because of the damage that person does,
Yep.
poisoning your team, right?
And
So
I've done it. Don't get me wrong. Like
I have too. That's why
it's
it's smiling.
yeah, we've gotten it. The last time I hired outside of what I knew I shouldn't have, like I was like,
Yeah,
dang, he said all the right things, but I just know we've grown, like I said, we did residential over the years. We always have. My dad was a good guy. Everybody liked him. So friends and family would call. They'd refer me. There's a couple 100,000 just done without trying. When we switched to it and really focused, we started growing. And we went from 600,000 to 1.25 million to 2.5. Like we were no less than 1 million growth every year in those early years, not even spending any time. And we got to a point where I was turning away more work than I should. And I'm like, but we couldn't find the right person. One guy came in and gave me all this stuff and did all that. I knew it wasn't the right fit, but we needed someone and he could sell. And 2 weeks in, I was like, this is going to be a problem. And a month in, I was like, we got to make a change. And he was technically closing, but I always say there's enough good work out there, enough business to do it the right way that, there's no point in ever pressing harder than you need to if it's not moral, ethical, whatever you want to look at it as. And so we did, and I said I'll never do that again. I knock on wood, but we haven't to this point. But that's
it's
my
it's
own
so
fault.
it's so I smile the whole time you were talking there because it's so funny how every time we do that, for me, I'll give you my experience. Right, I go back to like I knew in my gut he wasn't the right hire, and I didn't go with my gut. Right, and I'm always like kicking myself in the rear, like I knew it, but sometimes we just, it's like you start chasing that sell versus going with your gut and the other things. It always backfires. So, yeah. Hey,
Yep.
I've done it more than once. Any business owner, operator, manager that's hiring has done it too. So,
Yep.
but I love what you have in place there. And hey, you got to fit these certain standards or we're just not going to bring them on. Let's talk a little bit about growth. You guys have had great growth, just booming. Um, a lot's changed, right, in HVAC industry over 30 years if you look at that whole window. So how have you guys navigated all these changes in technology and industry standards, consumer expectations, right? And then um, in handling that, what strategies have also helped you grow?
Yeah, I mean, I think you mentioned probably like 4 or 5 different ones there, and it's a little tough because it's not one setup, right? Like the consumer buying habits, those always fluctuate, usually in like a 3 or 4 year period, right? Like everybody's like, oh, I'm the best company there is, and all of a sudden it's like the economy sucks. If you're the best company, the economy wouldn't affect you that much.
Right.
And so, but we're in the same boat. It's just a lot of times, to be honest, when we are really having some growth, I get nervous and I'm like, how is this happening? I'm not this good. I mean, I'd like to think I am, but and I don't maybe even fully take advantage of it because I'm like something's gonna change and I can't figure out where it's at. I'm a numbers guy. I'm bad at like I don't like to just say, oh hey, we sold 800,000 this month. We're all doing great. Why do we sell it? How do we sell it? Who are the customers? And figure out where that is and try to always replicate that and not just have a $200,000 month the next month and go, what happened? Um,
Sure.
so we train every week at minimum when it gets busy twice a week, but during the there's less busy seasons 3 times a week, and we're always going over the customer situation, talking about what people are seeing, what they're hearing, and finding out, does that link up to what we're seeing in the economy and things like that. It I think the customer service side is probably the one where most companies spend the least amount of time, maybe not least, but for what they're doing for training, that should be a higher percentage than anything else. And then on the changes in, refrigerants and technology, especially right now, AI is coming out. My weakness is not seeing something and going, "That's great, we should just do it." Like I don't take a lot. I don't like all the sales details. I like to hear, see what the product does, and then I'm like, I can see how that works and want to implement it. I fortunately have hired a few of the right managers and key people in place. They're like, let us run the demos, 3 or 4. We'll come back to you with which ones will make the most sense. So I'm not just, adding stuff to the mix, but it's hard to remove some of the noise because everybody's coming at you with, you need this AI to answer this. You need this technology to track your training or your sales or your KPIs outside of your current CRM or wherever it is. And so it's difficult to know what are real, needle movers that can benefit the customer, benefit the employee, benefit the bottom line, and what ones are just going to cost you money and burn out. And so, I don't have the direct answer. We go through a lot. I listen to a lot. I, again, back end a lot of the stuff and look into it and run it through our current system and say, what would that have changed? And would that have paid for itself plus some? But I think the biggest problem would be, or holdback would be doing the same thing you always done. Because
Yeah, yeah. Doing the same thing, but expecting a different result.
yep,
Good old
100%.
Tony Robbins there,
Yeah,
right? Something resonated there with me when he talked about, have an $800,000 month. You're not just celebrating, but you're like, why? One of my favorite things as an entrepreneur that I kind of live by is when things are going bad, I tell myself, hey, it's never as bad as you think it is, right? So what is it that's your reason why you think things are going bad, but not freak out, right? Because it's never as bad as you think it is. But when things are rocking in, like, say, your world, for example, $800,000 a month, don't get all excited and think everything because it's never as good as you think it is either, right? So
yeah.
I always try to prepare myself when things are really going well. Why is it going well? I love that too because I totally believe in that. But also, don't celebrate because it doesn't take a lot to all of a sudden have a little downturn, right? And I like to try to live somewhere right there in that middle, right? We're growing, but in the middle to me is where it's kind of like my safety zone. So I've talked a lot about that with entrepreneurs, and I've heard people new in the business, they'll come back and they'll say, Todd, I say that to myself all the time, because I do
Yep.
it, especially when things are bad, right? Because it's easy to get down as a business owner, especially in the early days, right? Or really get discouraged. And I just say, hey, look, it's not as bad as you think it is. It's get up the next morning, just keep grinding away.
I'll have to text you because we've been doing this 30 years now, and I think I'm going out of business at least 2 to 3 times a year. I'm like, oh, this is it. And it's usually triggered by like a 3-star review. Like we will get somewhere around, 3, 4, 5 a day, every day consistently when we're busy. 5-star, 5 star. So I'll be at 300 5 stars. We'll get a 3-star, and I'm like, what do we do? Oh, this is it. Like this person's gonna tell somebody we're not gonna have any calls next week, and like I don't even know why we're doing this. I've gotten better over the years, but I was like skies falling every time something's happening. Um,
That's a great, that's funny because, yeah, wake up in the middle of the night, the world's coming to an end. I always tell myself, Todd, I can't fix anything at 3 in the morning, go back to sleep. But that's a good segue. I love talking about marketing with business owners. Obviously, I'd shared with you, I'm a digital marketer, but what fascinates me is, what's working, what's not working, what are pain points. Part of this, part of my goal with the podcast is to put together just a ton of data, like what makes the perfect agency. People have told me in the past, you should write a book. So I've kind of contemplated like, hey, maybe I should take all this feedback and actually put it into something. So you guys do a lot of marketing different channels that we talked about. So at a high level, what what channels work for you the best? Like what is, hey, I can always count on this channel.
Funny time for this podcast. I actually made a marketing level leadership change yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah, and we're going a different direction. So there's a few things to it, right? Like since I look at the data every day and I run it historically over stuff, what's difficult in marketing for me at least, or for me to fully understand at least, is like, let's say Google Google My Business is by far probably our best generated one, and we can tie that directly to reviews. So if I break down when we had 400 5-star reviews to when we got 700, the amount of organic and GMV leads that come in per spend we have almost always tracks the same. And so then we get to 1,000, my that also increases with that. So we can, if we wanted to, lower spend or keep it at a certain spot. And the more leads we get for every 100, we get this many calls of people doing it in our area. And so we're, I think, almost to 2,000 now for the Goodyear area on the air conditioning side. And so that's this massive generator. The problem is when we switch over on like pay per click or whatever the platform will be for Google or somebody, it's like, is the person we are hiring to do this winning, and or they're doing terrible? But also the economy, the how many, what's the search volume compared to this time last year? If you're not taking all that into account, it's really easy to say, hey, this person is terrible at pay per click. But also you're based on the weather and your January from 25 to 26, you might have 300,000 less searches for the same terms you had last year. And then if you're not factoring that in, it's quick to want to pull the trigger on an accounting agency or something like that. So those ones are always, they're almost like this necessary. I hate marketing as a whole. Just FYI, I know you do marketing.
No, I like it. That's why I asked the question, because it's fascinating to me.
And it's like you can get, I tell everybody, like, if I sit down with somebody on a demo and they tell me, spend this, we can't guarantee anything, but this is usually where we see. I've got a factor on my own spreadsheet that's like usually 11% of what they're telling me they're going to get. So if I spend 100,000 this month with your group and I'm going to get 10 calls, I'm going to say, well, I'm really going to probably get 1.5, maybe 2. Does that 100,000 make sense at 2 with my closing rates, my average tickets, what the spend is going to be, and our margins? And I'm usually not wrong, depending where we're going on what ends up coming for at least the first 3 months. So it's those are real finicky for me, and so we always spend a decent amount in a lot of the local stuff as well, because I actually can't track that as well for a direct dollar for revenue contribution, but I can see the more we do in the community, the more we do with even small stuff like the next door neighborhood things. But we sponsor a lot of schools, high schools. We got a few things we do different than we don't write it. I'll never write a check and let you put a banner of ours in your gym and call that our sponsorship. I'll tell them that I want to sponsor a local team. Here's what we want to do though instead of, and then we have this playbook we run at all the schools. Oh, I don't know that I'll tell everybody in the market, but it goes. It does. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I'll tell you what we do. We'll find the local schools that we have the most neighborhood community market share of. And so we'll go to the high school and see what sports are, their big events. They'll say, yeah, I want to be a sponsor and here's what we want to do. And so we throw out, all the cheerleaders throw out shirts between the second and third quarter or halftime, and all the shirts we sponsor the school. So it'll be, X school, their mascot, and on the back, it's our logo. And it's like, whatever the school is, MVP, we're your AC MVP or something silly like that. But just so it's out there, it sounds crazy. It actually costs way more than just writing $1,000 check or 2,000 because we're spending almost $1,000 shirts. But I get texts every week from random people. Hey, does this person work for you? Hey, I saw another shirt. People wear our shirts everywhere all the time. We went to a basketball game in Scottsdale, 45 minutes from here. There are 15 people in the stands with A Quality shirts on. And we do it at
Yeah,
quite a few schools.
the whole local, I love the whole local thing. I think t-shirts are awesome. We've done in trade shows and stuff where the past we would create a t-shirt based off the show, so that we would create a unique logo tied to the show. So it wasn't like just us, right? It wasn't
Yep.
like a shirt all about us. It was like it always looked like an event show, right? Like an event shirt. Like whoever's putting on the show, this is their shirt. Then on the back we have our logo, but we would go back several years. In one of the industries we used to do this, but I would see the shirts from years. Like people would wear those shirts all the time. So I know exactly what you're talking about when you're out and about and people have your shirts on, that you just sponsoring schools, right? And going
Yep.
through that local channel. And one last another question on the digital marketing side, because I know you've worked probably with several agencies over the years. probably maybe more so than you wish to. But when you talk about when you hear the word digital agency, I'm just curious in your experience, what is your biggest frustration or pain point in working with a digital agency?
It's kind of what has led to the events that's happened over the last couple weeks. For me, like transparency, not transparency of like what you're doing, but like the transparency of our leads, where the money's going and what's happening and where it's coming from. Um, it's like if we don't have something in place that can give us the full story of a lead, it's really tough to make the right decisions. Meaning, our CRM shows that somebody called in on a Google My Business, and it's important for us to be able to say, and we're told this is going to happen almost every time. It never does, but it's like it's important for me to be able to go, that person said I needed air conditioning, search AC contractor near me, saw our business profile and called. Or the person called our business profile, but we had sent them a postcard last week and we can show they got that postcard. And then they saw, our Facebook ad, clicked on it, went to our website, checked this page and said, okay, I like this company. Something happened. They Googled us. And then that's how they got there. Then I can make a decision on where we're going to allocate money. Right now, I just send it all to Google My Business ads or PPC. But the reality is, they organically got there because I should have spent more on a postcard or the local thing they found out, whatever that is. And so right now, that's probably been our biggest struggle. Is like we have the end result, and you can tell it's not accurate because it's like, hey, you guys got 4 calls on PPC and we dump more money into it and we don't get any more calls. Well, if we would have known the transparency or the roadmap of how this customer got to us properly, and you can't do it on all, but there is quite a few easy ways to do it on most, we could have said, actually, don't spend any more there, dump all that money back down to here, and also we start getting more people and where it goes. And so I think that's been the big struggle is like, everybody wants to say their avenue works and or how they get it there, but even at least some of the places we've worked with of recent and over the years have kind of all been the same. Is like I feel like you're guessing at your own model, and like if I'm the one having to do the legwork to figure it out and tell you actually this is where it's at, we're probably not a great fit.
It's interesting. So follow up on that, and then we'll wrap up. We kind of hit our limit here, but I could talk to you all day, Brian. Like I said when I first met you, I love talking to entrepreneurs. So if I heard you right, lead attribution is huge, right? When I say lead attribute, like where did the lead come from? So within your CRM or how you're tracking data, are agencies able to tell you, hey, that was Google Ads, that was Google, or that was organic Google or Bing organic, that was Facebook organic, that was Chat GPT. Are you able to see that type of lead attribution?
On some, like most of it is going, whatever the phone number dialed in is getting credit for it. And obviously sometimes that's exactly what it is. But when it's not, that depending the avenue it went or how it's set up, it's very minimal where there's a lot of ability to track prior or yeah, anything other than if they call this number, that's where the money's going.
I got you.
We just know it's not. And so, as a matter of fact, one of the companies is working on it right now and said, oh, we have this, but they're using a third party to do it, and they're going to onboard them. And I'm like, man, I've got now 4 people in this step that I'm paying just to get the proper tracking. So it's frustrating. And again, not everybody. We've got some that have great systems and demoing some of those out as well, actually, as we speak. But I think that it's the problem I have with it's twofold. Is like if you're going to offer these services, you should be able to have something in your back end that way, a call rail, a IP address mapping that can do it. I think that just should be basic. And B is you're also pitching to me 10 years ago to a lot of people, right? Where I mean, it's taken me a long time to figure out how this goes. And so some guys got a budget of $2,000 a month, what 200, 2,000, 5,000, whatever it is, it's all they got. And they've got to dump it into one place to determine is this where it's going to grow. And if you don't know that, they don't know they should be looking for it. They burn their year's capital and can't figure out why it's working. It could have easily been a marketing thing or a tracking thing. And so, yeah.
Love that you're into data. We say we're a data driven company, and that when we work with the clients, we love the client that's in the data, tracks your leads. Because when we talk on, when we have status calls and we're talking about lead attribution, and that customer can say, help us connect the dots of the journey, right? Yeah, that went through. That was a really good lead, and we actually, sold that job, and here's the revenue and XYZ. Because at the end of the day, it's all about ROI with marketing, right? And if you have a return and the agency takes really good care of you, then you're probably going to be with them for a long time. So that's all great info. I hear that a lot too. People are really frustrated with the lead attribution and how it's being handled. Um, as we wrap up, I'm just curious. You said you love talking to other HVAC. You've always been an open book. So, what advice would you give to someone if they came to you and said, "Hey, Brian, I want to start my own HVAC industry. I know you've had a great success." What advice would you give to that person?
Don't do it.
Run for the hills.
Yeah, go work for somebody. No, no, I joke. Some of that's actually true, man. Like I tell,
100%.
here's how I work. I get that a lot is people getting ready to start, people thinking they want to leave somewhere, or they have just started their year in business. And I think the biggest thing that I do with everybody, I'll probably work with, I don't know, 15 companies a year. People are like, oh, you're a consultant. No, I don't. I don't charge for it. I don't make any money. I'm helping them out, and so I'll run through it. But the main thing I'll do is um, reverse engineering is, I think, the best way to kind of determine the route you want to go. And so I say, listen, you're year one or you're getting ready to start. What do you want to do? What do in your mind, what do you think year one's going to look like? But more so, what's year five and 10 look like? Like if this goes perfect, know anything about the industry, where are you going to be in 10 years? Like, is that you? Some guys want to start a business, they still want to be in the field. They're like, I don't want to be $100 million company. I have no desire. I want to make X dollars. I like working with my hands. I want to do this. Great. But what's 10 years look like? You can keep working with your hands. You can stay in the field all you want. Do you have a family member you're gonna pass this off to? You want to sell it? Because all that matters day one so much. And then also B is expectation of what you want matters in day one, meaning like, hey, I want to do this. I don't want to be a big place. I want to only have four guys and I want to make 100,000, 300,000. I don't care, wherever the number is. And I'll run through, I created this platform software. Used to use spreadsheets, and now with AI and things, it's gotten easier. So I've created these formulas where it's like, great, you want to make 300,000, you want to have four trucks. I can plug that in and say, like, right now, pricing is probably the biggest issue. Is like everyone's like, hey, I get busy, and they're underpriced, but they think if they charge this, um, they're going to rip people off, and that's too much. You shouldn't have to charge it. But I'm like, listen, if you want to be that big, you need three guys. If you want three guys, you have to have three trucks. Here's your overhead for that. Like, and I let them just see what that looks like, because the I also look at buying companies to back up. I know we got to wrap it up, but I look at buying companies. I'll probably look at 45, 50 companies every year, and I'll make an offer on sometimes none, but usually one or two, just because where it's at. But the number one thing I see, and then I'm not trying to buy $30 million companies. I'm looking at the $500,000 to $5 million companies. And I can't tell you how many times I've looked at a business, been in business 25 years, guys doing all the work, and there's really nothing to sell. And that's a tough conversation to have. I'm super nice and I talk them through it. I walk them through exactly why people look at it. They've got a lot of, hey, I'm not buying this, or they want $1 million and it's worth 30,000. But it's just because of how it was set up from day one and how they ran it, never with the intention of being worth something for somebody to buy without them there. And so that's the explanation I give people that are first starting out, is like, don't spend 10 years and then figure out what you're going to do, because you might make great money. You think, like, this is worth $1 million to me, but it's not going to be worth anything to anybody else. So unless you're the one
Sure.
putting it all away. And so it's like, you don't have to grow big. You don't have to do anything, but the sooner you're set up, price right, and consider overhead that you might not have for a year, 2 years, but you factor that in, the easier and more comfortable it is for you to see that. You can say, okay, I can do this in 3 years. We can be here and I'll make this much money, or zero chance I want that much headache now. And I'll go work somewhere, and make double that, you know?
Yeah, no, I love. I mean, that's great advice to have that formula on overhead, because I think one of the biggest mistakes early entrepreneurs make is they don't really have a business plan, right? They haven't really thought through it. They may not even really understand what true overhead looks like. So you'd be able to sit down in an early stage and actually show them, you know, that
Yep.
you're going to need X amount of trucks. Here's what that overhead's going to look like, right? That's invaluable, and it's really cool that you're so open and willing to share that. And it sounds like without even charging people, right? Like you're not trying to be a consultant. You had said that one of your biggest things is just to give back. So I think that is awesome. That's one of the
Yep.
cool things about entrepreneurship is giving back. You mentioned how you buy companies. So two things. One thing I didn't do at the beginning for the HVAC and plumbing. Tell us where you're located and what areas you serve.
Yeah, we're in Goodyear, Arizona. So we, on our residential side, we are, I would say, 80% of our business is in 15 miles of my office. It hasn't always been that way. We've been very intentional on bringing it down. We've got one of the companies I bought had some customers in Anthem, which is 40 miles away, and a lot in East Valley. So we have customers everywhere, but we've got almost 3,000 club members, I think, right now, and 98% of them are within 12 miles of our office. So Goodyear, Buckeye, Avondale, Glendale, Peoria, Sun City, Surprise, all those kind of fall within it. Some will outskirt, but we try to keep every guy running 3 calls, no more, no less a day. And we shoot for less than 15 miles of total drive from office to 3 calls back to office, is a goal. Um,
Is a great. I love that model because you're cutting way back on windshield time. We're not making any money when the guys are driving, right?
yep.
And so, I mean, you're in the Phoenix metro area. That's a big area. Does it not find tempting to say, "Hey, I want to chase this business way on the other side of town now"? Or, I
Done it
mean,
plenty of times, but but usually when it gets slow, we get desperate and people do it. And that was actually a talk as it lightened up the end of this last quarter. We sat in the meeting, it was like, well, maybe we're I've got a Victory Village, we call it concept of we pick within a few miles of our office a community that has over 1,000 houses that fits all of our things, age of home, age of customer, all whatever our criteria is. And I said we don't market outside of that until we own 30% of the market. And 30% of the market would be, we have a formula that a lot of people will use. It's like if the houses are over 10 years old and the average unit gets replaced at 12 years, again, these numbers aren't exact, but that's just, then 1 in 12 houses is getting a new unit every year. If your average unit's 13, 14, 15,000, you plug that number in and say, okay, there's $10 million in revenue that's happening in this community alone every year, 3 million, doesn't matter. So then until we have 30% of that, we don't want to go anywhere else because we're just diluting our marketing spend amongst more people. But the second we own 30% of it, we can take marketing down, add some of it to the next community, but our vans are in that community so much that we see our referral and our inbound calls without, an organic lead type increases drastically. One of our communities that we started that in years ago, um, I spend one marketing thing in there every year that we do for them, but it'll generate, I want to say it's just over 1.5 million in revenue in that community all year from existing customers, referrals, and vans. They see our vans in the truck. So the brand recognition part just starts to take over. So my point in all that is when we got slow, it's like, are we diluted down and we've oversaturated, we own too much of it? Or are we just not doing community involvement enough? The thing was like, well, let's go to Phoenix. And it's like, we ran the numbers and said, hey, there's still $11 million we could be doing in revenue that's less than 12 miles away. Someone's getting that. Why would we, spend marketing so far away? And the second it's 120 out, and you have a call here, then you got to go 30 miles to do that call. It's an hour and a half worth of traffic coming back because it's all the rush hour stuff. So we are slow. We're almost peaked percentage wise of our market share in the communities that fit that's here. But so we're expanding. We're slowly expanding. But I'm trying to. Yeah, it sounds tempting, but it really is counterproductive in the end.
wow, any young HVAC guys out there that stumble across or having to listen, that is invaluable information because so many guys want to chase when, hey, there's so much business in your backyard if you just know how to reverse engineer it. So I don't hear that a lot. So I can see, that's huge. This is like one thing that you're doing that's really made you guys succeed and grow. I want to give you a chance to, we've talked about HVAC a lot. I know you added plumbing to the A quality side, but tell us really quick about the roofing company that you bought, where it's located, where areas you serve, and what made you want to buy it.
Yeah, so it's Lyons Roofing. It's in Phoenix. We have an office in Phoenix and we have an office in Tucson. And we bought at the end of 23, like October of 23, 24. We service the roofing services the whole valley. So that marketing is quite a bit more spread out, but they've always been that way. And then again down in Tucson. So um, it was a unique opportunity. I actually wasn't looking into roofing. One of the people that brought us AC company, there's brought us quite a few. They were a broker trying to sell us AC companies. None of them really panned out, but came with this roofing company and was like, "Hey, you interested?" I'm like, "Nope." Like, it's not even close to the model we're shooting for. He's like, "But it was unique. They've been in business 34 years. Now I was 32 at the time, 33, family owned. It had Lyons, Lyons, is the last name of the original family that started it. And another husband and wife had bought it 15 years in, and they ran it for 15. And it was as close to the same setup that we've grown. Really employee focused, culture focused, community focused, customer service facing, and they'd done really well. And there was quite a few little unique opportunities where I'm like, hey, if we capitalized on this and we did this better and we paid more attention here, there's probably some opportunity left here without having to try to take it from 15 million to 50 million. Um, and so yeah, that was the plan when we got it. Uh, and I'd say the biggest thing is roofing is probably was there's a lot of people buying them now. It was new to do it 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago, but I mean everything was still paper, and they have 140 employees and doing 15 million and not hardly any technology. I mean they're handwriting stuff, leaving it. When they print out a contract, it's 40 pages for them, the office, the customer, and
My gosh.
I mean, we had rooms full of people. Wow, there's a lot of things to make this more efficient. It's just old school. Um, but yeah, we bought that at their peak of three best years in a row, and then when we bought it, it was 8 months into the longest drought Arizona had for rain. And we don't do any insurance work or anything like that, but it still fluctuates business. And
Sure.
it was the greatest opportunity I think they had. Like they couldn't have done a better job for them selling. It was a rough first year, but to be honest, it was a real rough first year. But I'm glad we did it. It brought a couple things to light. I saw some stuff that was like, "Hey, we need to make this change to make this work," and it did. And I was like, "We're not even doing that in the air conditioning company." Like, I just I don't know how I just so there was a lot of synergies or things that we had to do to turn it around and make stuff better that we weren't already doing and wouldn't even thought of had we not been in this tough situation or employee situation or jobs or lack thereof. And so it's actually kind of made both companies better in the meantime. I say that now. If you asked me a year ago, I would have said no, we just should never have done it. But no, it was I got a master's degree and a bachelor's degree in about a 9 month period on roofing and
The
business
roofing.
as a whole. But it made me reach out to a lot of people like I've done in air conditioning, just say, hey, some of the groups I'm part of, I've got roofers in there and do 30, 40, 50 million every year. And I just said, willing to do a conversation. Every single one always said, yep. And then I just picked their brain apart. And like I said, try to get my master's in old school roofing and whatever that looks like. So, and mind you, I dropped out of high school. Like I dropped out of high school after my freshman year. I've never been to school since that day. Um, but I feel like I mean, I went straight into the workforce, and I feel like I'm getting all the knowledge I get is real, proven. People have done it and get to skip some of the steps of failure they made, and so that's why I'm so big on helping a lot of these other companies that are whatever stage they're at, and
Sure.
in it is if I can save you one night of no sleep that I've already not slept on for 5 days, let me walk you through that, my guy, because we're all in this together. One of the guys that I talk to quite often is 5 miles from my office. He is definitely what you consider a direct competitor. I don't hold
Sure.
anything back for him. I'll tell him anything he wants to help him. If I think him and his family is going to be stressed, this much less, sure, we got plenty of work, man.
Yeah, I'm a big believer, man. Just giving back, and that's another great takeaway for any, especially young entrepreneurs that may be listening. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help, right? Because, and especially in your industry, find the mentors, someone that can mentor you and help you, and then don't just stick to one. Talk to several people, because what I've experienced is there's a lot of Bryans out there that were more than happy that to talk and help you and share, their experiences, right? It's called, I call it experience share. You're not telling them, hey, do this, that. It's like, here's through you sharing your experiences, there's all these lessons. So that fires me up right there. That's why I love talking to entrepreneurs. So kudos to you for being such an open book and not fearing that if you talk to another HVAC guy, they're going to steal everything that you've done, So,
Yeah.
um,
Somebody did, like, I'm not this smart. Like I said, I'm not, I asked people, and I had so many people that like gave that info that I said I'm willing to do it. And like I told you on the call before, it's like if I tell the guy who's 5 miles up the street everything I'm doing and how I'm doing it, and he stills my customers, then he's doing it better than I am. That's a me problem, not a him thing. Like if we lose somebody, I don't blame the other company. Like what are we doing wrong where that customer doesn't feel like we were the best choice they had and we gave them the right information and they were comfortable enough with it? That's an us thing. Like we don't lose jobs and customers to other people, even if they're half the price or they're undercutting. Like then we didn't explain it enough for them to understand the quality of what we do and how we do it different and how long we've been here. Like we got to figure out what did we do wrong, where a customer thought they are going to take their hard-earned money and spend it somewhere else is a better investment than it is with us, and let's just get better. And so everybody can know my playbook around us and make for better competition.
Yeah, I love the accountability there, man. Such great lessons, Brian. It's been so much fun chatting with you. I appreciate you sharing so much. And when we go long because I think there's so much good content and value coming out of these talks. So
I was just getting
think
warmed up, man. I thought we had that was going to be a three
yeah,
hour podcast.
Brian, before we hop off, tell everybody how they can find A Quality HVAC plumbing and how they can find I believe it was Ryson Roofing
No, Lyons
or
Roofing.
Lyons
Yeah,
Roofing.
sorry. It's so our air conditioning and plumbing's call A Quality, which sound like a good idea, but if people don't capitalize the letters when you write it out, people are like, "Oh, you work at Quality HV." I'm like, "Nah." It's call like phone call A Quality HVAC. Actually, it's just callaquality.com now, and that goes to both the sites. And then Lyons is Lyons roofing.com. Um, and yeah, that's where they're at. I'm Bryan Cary. I think all my personal handles for Instagram, or don't go to my TikTok. I danced with my daughter on there when she was younger, and I still get people saying, "Hey, is this you?" And I'm like, I gotta go make those stories private. There's some embarrassing, but otherwise, everything's just my name, Bryancary.
Brian, thanks again so much. And when we hop off, the first place I'm going is to TikTok. But
As that was coming out of my mouth, I'm like, as soon as we hit stop, I'm gonna have to go make my profile
go back.
private.
Hey, thanks again. Like I said, it's Friday today, so have a great weekend, man. And
Likewise.
just appreciate you so much sharing with us.
Absolutely. Anytime, man. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later.